Blog Talk Radio.
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.
Everybody, this is Crossfire the Crusader, and you are at the Superhero Academy. This is the show where the real-life superheroes come together to discuss ways that we can impact the world around us. At Superhero Academy, of course, we say that everybody has something to learn and everybody has something to teach. And this week, our guest lecturer, our visiting professor, taking us for the first time international, is from Canada. Our guest professor is the ANONYMAN.
Hey, man.
Say hello to everybody, ANONYMAN.
Sorry, what?
I said, tell everybody hello.
Oh, hey. Yeah, my line's a little shaky right now. It's noisy in my house because I've got family for the holidays, so I'm camped down outside my house right now in my car just talking on my cell phone. So if I have to cut off because of the connection, I'll call back as soon as I can.
All right, hey, I understand. And also on the line with me, we've got Marshall Eagle.
Yo.
Yo, hey. Guys. Had everybody have a good Christmas this year?
Oh, yeah, I am.
I had a great one. I slept the whole day. I worked the night before and worked Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and I worked tonight, and I slept all day yesterday. That was great. Best present I could have got. We're gonna touch on a few things, because with this weekend this weekend was a holiday weekend, and this upcoming weekend is another holiday weekend. And with New Year's Day coming, New Year's Eve, one of the issues that inevitably rears its head is the issue of driving while intoxicated. And there's a lot of us I know that are out there patrolling, seeing what they do to keep people safe. And so we're going to be discussing what we can do to help keep our friends, our people we come acquainted with, and just come across out there on the streets from driving while intoxicated this year, or helping them, after they decide they're not going to drive, what can we do to help them get home safely and such like that. The other thing, if you call in, callers, you are welcome to call in. The call-in number is 917-889-3317. We're going to be discussing the plans for 2011 and your superhero New Year's resolutions. One of the things that I'm going to touch on before I turn this over to ANONYMAN is those of you that are familiar with the show, the last 2 weeks ago we had Power Capes and Heart Heroes on. And the challenge that I'm issuing for 2011 concerns Heart Heroes. They do a great thing. They provide superhero capes for young ladies, young gentlemen that have congenital heart disease. And these little heroes, they are fighting a monster that's trying everything in its power to kill them. But they give these capes that come from Power Capes, and they are just some professionally made, really nice little capes to these children and help them find their inner hero so they can go face these surgeries. And the stories they told, they were heart-breaking, just powerful, emotional stories. And so the challenge I'm giving this year to everybody in the real-life superhero, real-life supervillain community, and anybody that listens to this show that's just on the side of it, is to see how many tapes you can donate to Heart Heroes this year. The link will be on my blog, and, of course, on my Facebook I will share it. And I will be reiterating this challenge as much as I can this year. they are ending this year with a 200-child waiting list. And based on those numbers from last year, what they gave out or what they fell behind, we can expect them to need 600 capes before the end of 2011. So, guys, at $25 a cape, we're going to see what we can do to raise the money to donate these capes and help these kids find their inner hero and fight this monster of congenital heart disease. Now, on to our main topic. ANONYMAN, you told me you had done some work to study recently on the issue of DUI. I'm going to turn it over to you and just see what you have to share with us.
All right. Well, DUI has always been a big deal to me. When my dad was younger, he's like 50. So when he was in his 20s, he had someone really close to him, someone who probably could have become his wife. And around Christmas time, her daughter, who was actually one of his students, he's a teacher, one of his students, her daughter, got in a car crash. She's coming home from a party on the roads, icy out, and she and the driver, who was her best friend, as well as 3 people in the back seat, all perished. And it just tore apart the relationship my dad had with her mother, and they never really spoke after that, so that was a big issue for him. More recently, a close friend of mine, Robin, I'll call him, his friend just perished this last summer, coming home again from a party, not looking, and driver head-on collision. So a big deal for me is going to parties, seeing that everybody has a ride home there, a safe ride, and if they don't, finding them one. I've gone to parties with my friends before, and of course there's going to be underage drinking there. That always happens. And I'm usually the one who has to be the designated driver to take everyone home. It's tough because, you want to have a good time, and you can. You can have a great time without drinking, but to always be the one to have to look out for anyone, I don't mind doing it. It's better than the alternative.
Definitely. I know I had my own run-in with a drunk driver when my kids were little. Got rear-ended at a stoplight, and I don't know what's ever happened to that gentleman, the person that hit me, but I know that ever since that accident, I've suffered from massive migraine headaches from the neck injury that he caused, all because he wanted to drink vodka and drive around. So, I mean, it's very irresponsible. Now, you talked about some ways there that you go to the parties, you hang back, you try to help people find their other rides home, stuff like that. As a real-life superhero, out there on the streets, New Year's Eve, we're walking around making sure people are safe, making sure people find their way home. What are some things that we can do? Your suggestions.
I think the best thing to do, in my opinion, wouldn't be to do it as an RLSH. If you're doing it as a superhero, you're going to get a lot of unwanted attention. And while the costume or gimmick is good for some purposes, I really think it would work contrary to you in this case. I just do it undercover as a civilian, usually with people I know, because even if I go with my friends, I know my friends are responsible enough to find their own ride, but at the parties we go to, there's like 50, 100 people, like huge things, and not everyone is as intelligent as me and my buddies are, so it's good to help them out. I've driven home complete strangers before. It's scary, it's weird, but it's better than winding up dead or hurt or having them hurt someone else. So yeah, my best advice would be, if you want to help somebody out during the holiday season, you want to make sure that they get home safe, just do it as yourself.
Yeah, I would agree that this is one of those instances where, most patrolling type jobs I think are the same way. Are best done in civilian clothes. It's a little less confrontational, a little less attention grabbing on this, but when I was looking online, some of the things, suggestions, they're pretty simple suggestions. One of the things that it suggests for preventing DUI, of course, is designated drivers. Designated drivers are the real heroes on New Year's Eve. They go out, they go to the club, they go to the party or whatever, and they sit and watch everybody else celebrate it up, and then load them into the car and take them home. And I can tell you, whether you know the person or don't, you put a drunk person in the car, you're asking for an interesting ride home. Been there too many times. The other thing it's suggested is trying to get the keys away from your friends. A lot of times you can say, hey, you left your lights on. Why don't you let me get your keys? I'll go turn them off for you. And I thought, wow, what a great idea. And then you just hang on to the keys till the next morning and give them back to them. little things you can do like that. The other suggestion I was coming up on, and I'll let you go into this before I go into what I found here. Say you are out there, you're not at the party, you're not doing the designated driver thing at the moment. You're out there in the streets. What are you going to look for to try and take care of drunk driving when you're out there in the streets, or you're actually in the car, or walking the sidewalk, or whatever? What's your suggestions on that?
Well, it's probably not a good idea if you're just walking the streets to show up uninvited at someone's house for a party. I'd recommend going to a bar or something like that. I don't know, go to a big public setting and just making sure that people there looking after themselves, stuff like that. If someone does try to drive home intoxicated, I think that at a public place like that, maybe direct confrontation would be needed to say, no, you can't drive, but I'm underage. I've never been to a bar, so I'm not sure how the situation would play out. Do you have more experience with that?
I wasn't actually thinking along that line, but, you kind of reminds me of some of the stuff Terrifica does. If you ever read anything about her or listened to her interviews, she goes to the clubs and she watches for these women that have had way too much, and the guys that are taking way too much advantage of that, and she helps escort them to a cab. And the same kind of thing. They've had too much to drink. It's like, when you're ready to go home, let me get you a cab. You come back get your car tomorrow, and just casually get guided in that way. Yeah, I can see that. But I was actually thinking more along the lines of you're driving through town and boy, you see this car and you just know that person's been drinking. You can call the police. The warning signs online to look for watching for a drunk driver. I had a list here. Let's see if I can find it. It says to call 911 yourself. And guys, if you're going to be out and about on New Year's Eve, go ahead and pre-program the police or 911 or whatever on your cell phone. I always program in the local number for the police. It'll go through the 911 system anyway. But a lot of times on cell phones, if you're in the wrong area, it'll just take you to a generic 911, and you may not be in the right area for what you need. It's been a cell phone issue for a long time. So just go ahead and pre-program the phone, the police department and the ambulance into your phone. On my cell phone, I put an A and then a space and the name of the service, so it's the very first number that pops up if I need it. But it says to call 911 with cell phone if you observe a driver who appears to be driving while they're intoxicated. It lists signs of possible impairment. It says if they turn with a wide radius, if the car is straddling the center lane or lane marker, if they basically appear to be drunk, if you look in and they're just slobbering drunk, you know they're driving drunk. If they almost hit another object or a vehicle, if they are weaving on the road, if they're driving on other than designated highways, like on the shoulder or the sidewalk or somebody's front yard, if they're swerving, if they're driving more than 10 miles per hour below the limit, because for some reason, if you're impaired, you think if you drive slower, it makes you safer. If they stop for no reason in the traffic lane, if they follow you too closely, if they drift from one side to the other, if they drive with their tires on the center or the lane marker, that's a good sign that they're following that line trying to keep straight. If they brake erratically, if they drive into the opposing or crossing traffic, turn signals are inconsistent with their driving actions, if they do not respond to traffic signals or respond real slowly, if they stop other than in their lane, or park other than in their lane for that matter, if they turn abruptly or illegally, if they accelerate or decelerate rapidly, and if they drive with their headlights off. If you see any of those, you need to call 911. Be prepared to tell the dispatcher your location, the direction of travel, the description of the vehicle in question, and license plate number. And the biggest thing I can say is do not attempt to stop them or interfere with the driver, but get as much information as you can, pass it on to the police. I would advise against following them if you don't need to, just for your own safety. Some of the more experienced drivers might want to just keep back and keep an eye on where they go while they got the police on the line. But and also be prepared to tell who you are, because you will be called to court if this person goes to jail. They should go to jail. You need to be prepared to make a statement, guys. Give your name. This is not a time for glory. This is not a time for secret identities. This is not a time for playing games. This is a time for that people get prosecuted for their DUI or get the treatment they need or get off the highway mostly. What you do there could actually save a life.
Just because you're a real-life superhero doesn't mean you have to be a real-life superhero all the time. You're a normal person, too.
Exactly.
Well, not that real-life superheroes are normal, but you're a normal person, too, and you have the same responsibilities as everyone else. Here in Saskatoon, we've got a program called RID, which stands for Road Impaired Drivers, and all you have to do is, if you see an impaired driver, just text their license plate to, I think, 306-911, and that goes straight to the police. They can search for the license plate, and then you just text them the location of the car, and they'll send a cruiser out right there to look for it. It's really useful.
Awesome. That's good information. We got another caller in. And I do believe this is the magical bearded one himself. Is this Silver Sentinel?
Yes, that's correct. The Silver Sentinel.
All right, and I don't have your little sound trip today. Elroy went somewhere else. Let's see what else I got for you.
Do you believe in Santa Claus?
That one should work.
Of course, I believe in Santa Claus.
I still got all of my Santa stuff from last week. If you didn't get a chance to listen,
I am Santa Claus.
Wow.
Fun show.
Beat the white salt.
Yep. Silver, how are you doing? How was your Christmas?
Well, as you know, I had to work extra on Christmas here at the place where I work, but we had our Christmas day early. We celebrated on, Christmas Eve, and it was very, very nice, very personal, just Golden Valkyrie and myself and the kitten. And we enjoyed some good quality time, and she really enjoyed the gifts that I got her, and of course, I knew what I was getting from her because, I kind of pointed out to stuff when we walked through those and said, that would make a great gift. I don't have one of those yet.
That's really subtle.
Oh yeah,
subtle.
Holy guacamole!
Hello.
So.
Yeah. I enjoyed my Christmas. We had our Christmas party for work and actually got something I had been wanting for almost 10 years. I got a copy of a book called Sherlock Holmes versus Dracula. Oh, it is awesome book. I've already finished it. It is definitely a page-turner, well-written book. The author's name is Lauren Estelman, and he weaves the Sherlock Holmes-type mystery that goes in and out of the story of Dracula. All those times when you don't know what Count Dracula is doing in the actual book Dracula, he's batting heads with the greatest detective in London. And it turns out to be a really great, really good read. If you ever get a chance to pick up a copy of Sherlock Holmes versus Dracula, I recommend it. It's very entertaining, and I know I will read it again and again and again until that book falls apart, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we'll talk about things we can do as superheroes as people, as citizens, whatever, to protect our communities and our friends and our family and even people we don't know from DUI this New Year's Eve. ANONYMAN is our visiting professor. Those of you who haven't called in, the number is 917-889-3317 to call and be part of Superhero Academy. Give your opinions, your thoughts, and to share your 2011 plans and your superhero New Year's resolutions. So we still got Marshall Lee. Marshall Lee, what are your plans for 2011 as a superhero?
Well, one is to hopefully get my uniform put together, and, of course, resolution, find me a better job.
Definitely. One of the, as far as getting the suit together, that's one thing I've been working on all along. I'm always trying to improve what I got. That's a never-ending battle, so, I always encourage people that just because you don't have the super suit doesn't mean you can't be out there doing good.
True.
You can always find a way to start working.
Yeah, like a few weeks ago when I was walking, I spotted some graffiti under an overpass. I reported it to the police. So,
you know, it's the little things like that. They're like drops in a bucket. But I think I shared the collecting of pennies. But if you took a penny and you doubled it every day, it seems like you're not doing much. The first day is only 1 cent. The second day it goes to 2 cents. The third day is 4 cents and such like that. But, you know, after 30 days, you're looking at over $1 million just by doubling the amount you do each day.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's those little bitty pieces and parts that we do out there each day, whether it's, you know, helping somebody to their room when they've had too much to drink, picking up the can off the sidewalk, pointing out the graffiti, just being a sympathetic ear when somebody needs to talk, that start to impact our community.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of impact, I'm gonna share some statistics that I looked up. ANONYMAN has shared his heart on DUI. So I went to the Mothers Against Drunk Driving website and looked a few things up. When we talk about drunk driving, it's according to Mothers Against Drunk Driving, 1/3 of all of us could be involved in an alcohol-related crash in their life. I mean, that's a pretty powerful 33%. I've got another caller. It's an unknown number. Let me get them in here. Hey, area code 111. You're on Superhero Academy. Who have I got?
This is Agent Wraith.
Agent who?
Exactly. No one really knows who Agent Wraith is, but I've been listening to you for quite some time, Crossfire. Quite some time.
Okay. Well, welcome to Superhero Academy.
Well, thank you very much for the warm welcome. In fact, I learned about you through Agent Beryllium, and I must say, you have quite the head on your shoulders there, my man.
Well, thank you very much.
Takes a lot, really, to face a villain and actually hold your composure. You have kudos for that. I thank you for I thank you for that. That's quite a compliment. So, how are you doing today? How was your Christmas, or I guess Ubermas for the supervillain? Well, Ubermas has yet to happen for the supervillain community, but Stan Lee's birthday is on the same day, so you know, gotta celebrate that, you know.
That's true.
Good.
Stanley is cool. He's cool for both heroes and villains.
Well, if it wasn't for Stan Lee, would there really be any superheroes?
Well,
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Actually, that would be because Superman and Batman came before Stan Lee.
I guess you got me there. The Jews really did beat us out on that, didn't they?
Now, I will say you hold the distinction of being the very first supervillain to call into the show.
Well, isn't that lovely?
Congratulations on that. Yes.
Lucky us.
Lord
but you got to represent, you know, my peeps are out there. Lord Malignant's posted this, and but I've got to give props to Lord Malignant. He's the one that really showed us the light.
There's definitely an interesting person there. I've conversed with him several times over the past year. So him and Agent Beryllium and, of course, Malvado. Malvado's a regular visitor to our chat room. So, and we, of course, we welcome. We believe that everybody, even the real-life supervillains, have something they can teach us. And, of course, everybody has something they can learn. So we welcome you here and look forward to hearing from you and more. And
well, I can't say that. I'm not trying to speak for the rest of the villains, but there's no reason just because I want to destroy the world that I can't be civil with you.
Oh, I agree. Definitely.
Exactly. There's such a lack of classy supervillains. It's terrible.
There's a lack of class in all realms of life, my good friend. That's one of the reasons why I do what I do.
That's very true. It's very true. I really appreciate the supervillain output that they have for us, actually. Well, some of them. But yeah, the people you mentioned, Agent Beryllium, Lord Malignant, yeah, I'm huge fans of them, actually. I used to follow their blogs until I deleted my own blog account, but no, they usually have very intelligent things to say. I always welcome their comments, and yours too.
Well, I'll tell you this. You don't get very far in life being stupid. Unless you're George Bush.
Oh,
I don't know. Sometimes to get farther, you can find your way back from, though. That's been my experience. It's always the wrong turns that seem to take you on the longest drives. Now, getting back on the topic, we're back in talking about DUI and driving while intoxicated and what we can do to impact our communities and steer people away from this. I was reading some statistics. I said that 1/3 of us will be involved in an alcohol-related crash in their life. Another statistic from the MADD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, it says that in this year, I'm assuming that's 2010, 10,839 people will die in drunk driving crashes, and that amounts to one person every 50 minutes. And according to insurance costs and medical costs and such like that are passed on to everybody, the DUI costs, driving while intoxicated, costs each adult in this country almost $500 a year in additional expenses. And in addition to the 10,000 plus people that will die in drunk driving, every minute one person is injured in an alcohol-related crash. That's wow. Now, I'm looking at three ways. We talked about designated driver, and we talked about taking away the keys. One program that I have seen a lot of communities have that I think, I don't know how you would go about being part of this. Sometimes the cab companies do it, sometimes the police do it, and that is the free ride on New Year's Eve. They have a standing policy that if somebody will call for a ride, no questions asked, they will take them home, no charge, just to keep them from driving while intoxicated. Does anybody have any experience with that or have anything like that in the community?
I've got something kind of like that. I'm not sure, well, actually, I'm not sure if it's the same thing at all, but at some bars they have a phone right near the door, near most exits actually, and all you have to do is pick up the line, you're connected to the taxi cabs right away. And I'm not sure if it's for DUIs, but I've only really seen it in bars, not other places, so, well, I haven't seen it in bars, but, like, you know what I mean. But yeah, it seems like a great idea to me.
I know Little Rock, they did it a few years back. I don't know if they do it every year, but I remember I was working on New Year's Eve up there. But the off-duty police officers and such like that were available to dispatch where they could call the police non-emergency number and say, I've had too much to drink, I need a ride home, and they would show up and the officer would drive them home. And they'd somebody get their car the next day. And I thought, that's just such a great way, such a simple way to keep people off the street. Among our friends and family, if we are free to be out there and available, that's something like, hey, look, hey, Bob, hey, Joe, I know you're going out to the party. If you have too much, call me. I will come get you.
I know that. My friend.
And it's, this is not an issue where we can grandstand or anything. It's not an issue where we can grandstand or we can play games or out there in the costume booth. It's just an issue where we have to make ourselves available, and it's just a simple little act of being available as a designated driver, as a friend to take the keys, as a person they can call for a ride. It's going to change these statistics. And groups like Mothers Against Drunk Driving, Students Against Drunk Driving, and other groups are out there trying to change laws to make sure these people do get prosecuted, do lose their license, to make them acquire the breathalyzer devices on their cars and such. But what's going to change this is people being available. And I thoroughly believe that, and we've got to make ourselves available. a lot of us have gone to a lot of effort to make ourselves there, to put ourselves out there to help people, to stop them when they have a drug addiction, to just try to change things, just one piece at a time, one of the puzzle at a time. And several of us, I mean, out of the 5 of us that are online right here, I know that 2 of us have been impacted by DUI. That goes right along with the statistics. I mean, I've been hit by a drunk driver. I have lost people to drunk drivers. My daughter's best friend in junior high school was hit by a drunk driver getting off the school bus. And, you know, there's no justification for that. And, you know, if somebody had taken the time to keep that woman out of the car that day, her friend would still be alive. And it's such a powerful impact, negative impact, that you grasp for the rest of your life trying to find a way to make a positive impact out of that. My granddaughter now bears the name of my daughter's friend as a way of honoring her. And you know, that was when she told me what she was going to name this little precious child. And why it just chokes me up even today that she chose to honor her lost friend by naming her baby after her. Folks, I'm looking here in my chat room. Patriot popped something in for me. He said in the city, in his neighboring city across the river, they actually have free taxi services specifically for people who go out and need a ride. A nonprofit organization helps pay for that. So it's sponsored by churches and such like that. So thank you, Patriot, for that information. Over here, Patriot's in the chat room over here. Now, let's see who I still got online. I've lost one of my callers. I've got Marshall Eagle and ANONYMAN, looks like. I've lost Silver Sentinel. Silver, if you get a chance to call back in, please do, because we still need to do our Silver Seal for today. Of course, I've still got Agent Race here.
Hey, I'm on the line. I'm just being quiet and letting you do your thing, man. You're a wise man.
Well, thank you. I try to be mostly a wise guy. So, ANONYMAN, based on what we've been talking about, you're the visiting professor here, so you're coming up on New Year's Day. I mean, we've got 5 days now. Between now and then, what can you do to start preparing things, to set in the groundwork to, you know, our goal is to make sure that nobody in our area that we operate in dies or is injured in DUI. I mean, that may be a pipe dream, but that's what we're all about. What can you do starting Monday morning to try and ensure safety? What are your suggestions?
Well, one thing that I've already been doing that I encourage other people to do is find out what parties your friends are going to. If you're going to one already, that's great, but find out where the parties are. Try to attend. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to a party at a friend's house, and I know that there's just going to be packed, tons of people there, adults, minors, high school people mostly, and college. But, yeah, I'll be going there, and so my friends, I'm bringing about 11 people with me, guys and girls, and we're just all not going to drink, see if anybody needs a ride home. Like I said before, I've driven home with complete strangers before, and that's scary because sometimes you're not even sure if they're giving you the right directions. But even if they don't appreciate it, you're doing the right thing. So, yeah, top advice, find out where the parties are, attend them, bring some friends with you, and be willing to drive anyone home. Sometimes me or my family will host the parties at our house just so, like, we know we can take their keys away, put them in a bowl, and then when they come to us later and ask for their keys, we can tell, it's like, okay, you're good, you didn't drink, have your keys. Or like, no, you're wasted, I'm keeping these, I'll drive you home. Stuff like that. But I definitely don't recommend doing it alone. You should always have at least a small group of people with you.
I would say one thing that you could do is Monday morning, contact the local police department. Again, use the non-emergency number or the city council or whatever, and just say, look, I'm interested in getting some information. Do they offer free taxi service in this town? Is there any businesses doing that? Is the police doing that? Is there anybody that's doing anything along that line? That I can pass that information on to the local bars, to the local restaurants, to the people that I meet, so that if they get out there and they have too much, they can call and get them someone to drive them home. I think that would be just a simple phone call and get some information would be a great way to kind of lay the groundwork to start preventing this. Because if information, you know, what the old G.I. Joe cartoon says, now you know and not and knowing is
half the battle.
Yeah. And as silly as that is so true. Knowing is the largest part of the battle. If you don't know the truth, if you don't have the information, you can't do anything with it. That's the first step.
Wasn't it Sun Tzu who said, know your enemy?
Yes. Sun Tzu said, your friend's close, your enemy's closer, I believe.
It's the art of war, buddy. It's the art of war.
Oh, definitely. A great book, too.
You know, let me ask you a question. Tell me how many deaths it was again? How many people die?
According to Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, it's 10,839 people in a year.
And you know what that brings to my mind? And this might be a little bit of a sad note, but that's barely a dent. Barely a dent. Now, I'm not trying to belittle anyone, and I'm not trying to lessen the memory of those who have passed on, because believe me, I hear about it all the time. I'm a wraith. You get it, right? I hear about it. But these people who are on the road, and some of my friends have been both the people driving while intoxicated, and people have been, I guess, the victims of these people. It still doesn't make sense. You have people alive, outbreeding their resources, and then you have people dying at the same time. It's not a good idea, really, to drink and drive. I've tried not to. It was a random industrial accident that caused my current condition, so I can't really say it was alcohol. I applaud what you're doing, though. I really do. But let me leave you with that little tidbit, that it's barely a dent. I have some things to take care of right now. So I will leave you in your discussions. Thank you so much for being cordial.
Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for calling in.
It's always nice to get a classy supervillain, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Pardon?
Oh, it's always nice to get a supervillain who actually shows some class and some respect. I like that guy. I hope he calls in again.
Definitely different. I was actually expecting. I had my opinions on who I thought would be the first supervillain to call in. I actually got a new one, so that was kind of interesting. Lord Malignant seems to be speechless over here on the chat room. I don't think I've seen him with the lack of a proper response. That does take a little processing there. Goodness. But I see 11,000 people here that will needlessly lose their lives over something as stupid as somebody who just wanted to have a little fun and not be responsible. I'm not going to tell anybody don't drink. If you are of legal age and you can do so responsibly, yes. I personally don't drink very often. I have on occasion, but I am a recovering alcoholic, so I try to stay away from it as much as possible. But there are people that live for the next beer, and when they run out of beer, they're going to hop in the car and they're going to drive to the store and get some more beer, and they're going to do it at the risk of somebody's life. When I got struck by the drunk driver many years ago, I had my children in the car with me. My daughters were 5 and 3 at the time, and they were in the car with me when the driver struck us. I could have been left without my kids there. He hit us so hard he pushed us through the intersection. He had drank about half a gallon of vodka and was drinking it on the way home, and it was half gone. And here's the irony: when we got called to testify in court, when I could go up there and testify, his statement was that the accident wouldn't have happened if I hadn't been in his way.
Wow. What a quality person.
It was my fault because, it's my fault because I was there for him to hit. I'm like, oh, you've got to be kidding.
That's ridiculous.
This guy, he was making a statement at the time that he struck me. we're at a stoplight. There is an officer on the side street watching the accident happen. There's an off-duty officer behind him that saw the accident happen. There was an officer in the gas station across the street that saw it happen, and an officer in the lane coming the other way that saw it happen.
That's a lot of cops.
Yeah, they just happened to be right there at the same time, and then, of course, the off-duty officer had his girlfriend there. She was a nurse, another trained observer. There was an ambulance driver who just happened to be right there on the scene and spun around and responded to the accident, and then they saw the thing happen. And then, of course, here I am. I was a security officer at that time, working. Just left working for the prison the first time. Another person who was a trained observer, and of course I'm a was EMT, first responder. Just completed my EMT courses just a few months before, and so here I am.
You really picked the wrong day to drink and drive.
Yeah, and it's like, he's sitting there going, and it was my fault because I was in front of him. And I'm like, that's just goofy. The decisions they make, the woman who's my daughter's friend, actually, after she picks this kid up on the highway, drives away, tries to hide, and then, it's like, doesn't want to accept responsibility for what you've done. You've just taken the life of a 13-year-old, and you're not going to accept responsibility for what you've done. It's just uncalled for. This is going to sound very negative, but I don't believe that we're going to be able to stop stupidity. I don't believe that we can actually go out there and prevent everybody from making dumb decisions. They're going to happen, but we can do our best to educate, we can do our best to offer alternatives, and we can do our best to step between the stupid and the innocent.
I've got a story for you, if you've got time, on the other side of drunk driving. I've got some friends who, just typical party people, stoners, drank, all underage, of course, and just did dumb stuff, like got high all the time, smoked, drank and drive. And one day, they were driving down the highway, and this train had gone across the track, and they didn't get hit by the train, but they just didn't stop and ran their car right into a train. Totaled their car.
Yeah, I got another caller. Hold on a second. He's buzzing in here. Area code 518 is we got Silver Sentinel or Golden Valkyrie here. Area code 518. Let me try again.
Hello?
There we go. Area code 518. Golden?
Yeah, this is Golden Valkyrie.
Yeah, we lost Silver. I don't know where he went.
Oh, he's still at work. He's kind of busy, so.
Oh, out chasing
so
bears
he wasn't
again?
able to. He wasn't able to give the silver seal, so he called me up and told me to get my butt on the phone.
I see your butt dialing me. Okay. I get in trouble for that all the time. We've had an interesting show already. How was your Christmas? I already heard the silver side of it.
Christmas was good. I got to connect with a lot of folks because this is my first Christmas out where I am right now, and all of my family's still back home in Minnesota. So I spent Christmas on the phone for the most part, connecting with everybody out there.
Well, that's good. We're of course we're talking about what we can do to we got to prevent DUI in our communities, to help out all of our alternatives. We're also talking about our plans for 2011 and our New Year's resolutions for superheroes. But before we get into that, let me get this silver seal out of the way because we got talking of postponing tournaments that we had to lose. And let's hear who we got for a silver seal winner this week.
Well, unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of information on this. I tried digging some up so that way I'd be prepared, but Silver just kind of called me up and told me that I have to give it out this week too. So he said that the silver seal goes to Team Justice for the work that they do.
Oh, that's right, because Team Justice actually just had a big Christmas coat drive, I believe.
Yeah, he said they do a toy drive, and they also were giving out diapers and supplies to new mothers.
They've been hitting it hard the past 3 weeks, getting stuff for Christmas, blankets and coats and toys and just in the usual. They usually are hitting it hard, but they seem to double up, triple up here at Christmas. So they are definitely worth the Silver Seal this week.
Yeah.
So moving in here, what are your plans for 2011 as a real-life superhero?
I'm not really sure. I haven't really thought much about it. So, well, I guess my plans would be training and stepping up in the community, I guess.
That's always a good way. And, of course, our New Year's resolution. Of course, one of my resolutions for New Year's is to continue my weight loss. Those of you who've been following me in the drop zone, last week I had lost 24 pounds total since we started the show. I've down 1 more pound this week for a total of 25 pounds in almost 8 weeks.
Wow.
We'll continue that. I hope I can continue that. I'm trying to get myself down to 250 or below. I'd like to see myself below 200. I don't know if I'd know how to act if I got that skinny. Yep. Yeah, definitely have to learn a new fight technique. The flying walrus move don't work when you're under 200.
Well, I told you, make it into the flying penguin.
I might be.
You could wear a tuxedo and everything.
I could be the flying otter.
Yeah, that's more of a fitting animal for you. So since they are very goofy and playful animals.
Oh, definitely. I'm definitely goofy and playful.
Yeah.
Let's see, well, ANONYMAN, I keep taking over here, and you've been sharing such good stuff. What's some more thoughts you've got on this issue?
So, well, to finish the story from before, my buddies, just typical party people, they hit a train while driving intoxicated. They get out, they're totally fine. And ever since that day, they've given up drinking, smoking, drugs, everything, and they just go around to schools speaking to kids and just informing them, no, we should be dead right now. And if you, well, not quite as blunt as that, but yeah, we should be dead right now. Sorry?
They hit the train?
Yeah, they were driving drunk down a highway and just didn't stop for a train and just crashed right into it. And they all came out totally fine.
Holy donut!
Wow. I've never heard of anybody actually hitting a train. I've heard it the other way around. That's wow.
They just tell people that they should be dead, but they're not, and they're thankful for it every day. And they spend their days informing people of the dangers of drunk driving and driving under the influence of drugs and alcohol and how scary it really is, and you never know until it's you. And I really commend them for that. They're good people.
Definitely. Seems like the lessons that are learned the hardest are the ones you seem to share most readily and last with you the longest. It's sad that we as human beings have to learn things the hard way like that, isn't it?
What about you, man? Do you have any plans for 2011 as a superhero, aside from the weight drop or anything like that? I know you're doing that thing with Power Cape.
Of course, I'm trying to do the Heart Heroes things. I'm looking for ways that I can raise some extra money on the side to donate. I would love if I could just come and do enough money to drop a check for 200 capes or something, but I don't see that happening. Not in the near future.
How much is each cape?
Capes cost $25 each. That's the cost to manufacture them and ship them out. They don't make any money off of these. It's just the at cost, the deal they've got with Power Capes. Like I said, they gave out. Started in 2010 was the first year. They gave out 200 over the year in 2010, and they had a waiting list of 200 more. And these are kids that are born with a birth defect in their heart, with congenital heart disease. The lady that I spoke with on the air, her son is 3 years old. He's already had 3 surgeries.
Wow.
3 open heart surgeries. And she noted that right before he went to the hospital last time, he said, I've got to get my cape. I'm going, he was going off to face his demon, his dragon, his monster, and he had to have his cape. So, this seems like something trivial, but it helps them find their inner superhero. And I think sometimes finding that inner superhero is powerful for a child that's facing these kind of demons, these issues, these kind of monsters. They're facing a real supervillain. They're not facing a comic villain or a real life supervillain from the blogosphere or even a street thug. They're facing a villain who has grabbed a hold of their life, their heart, and is trying to kill them. And they've got to go in there and let the doctors do surgeries and go through all the, I cannot even imagine what it's like for a 3-year-old to be recovering from open heart surgeries. When my daughter had tubes in her ears, it broke my heart to see her laying there, trying to sleep off the anesthesia and everything. All she did was have tubes put in her ears. I cannot even imagine going through the heart surgeries and all the other related medical that goes with that. So if $25 can give these kids the courage to face that enemy, what kind of hero are we if we don't? If we can't provide that little boost is what I'm saying. That's more. Some people spend more than that every week going to the movies.
I'll pledge 10
Some people
capes
spend
right
more
now.
than that renting videos.
That's $250, right? I don't know. There's probably a bit more of a transfer from Canadian to American money, but yeah, if it's all right with you right now, I'll pledge 10 capes for next year, and hopefully I'll be able to raise more money than that. But yeah, right now I'll say at least 10 capes.
Yes, I pledged 6. That's one every other month. I figure I'd come up with that, but I'm gonna try and do more because this is a cause that's worth. There's a lot of charities out there. There's a lot of causes, and a lot of them I don't necessarily feel right giving the money to. Just because somebody's a nonprofit doesn't mean that they're the cause I need to support. I've supported things like the Adam Walsh Foundation when I was younger, which actually became the National Center for Missing and Endangered Children. If you're familiar with the America's Most Wanted, that John Walsh is the one that founded that. When his son was abducted, they founded the Adam Walsh Foundation to help find missing kids, and now that they are the number one resource in the United States when a child goes missing, for getting the word out there to help find them. Another charity I'm very proud to be associated with. I get emails regularly to pass the word out for missing kids from the Polly Klotz Foundation. Again, another group that was formed when a child went missing. And it's groups like that, especially, I'm very prone to help groups that help children. I don't donate money to just every group that comes out there. Just because they're doing something that's good doesn't mean they're doing something that's best. And I try to watch where I donate my money and where I donate my services. But if they're doing something to help kids, whether it's giving a cape to a kid that's facing heart surgery or helping find missing children, they've definitely got my heart, they've got my ear, and they've got my financial help where I can give it. That's just how I am. And I'm looking for ways, that I can continue that, I can improve that. Of course, I've talked about creative fundraising ways. If you get out there and do a yard sale, like the one I did this last fall, and raise $500 to $1,000 and donate that to Power Capes. That's how many kids' lives are you improving? Are you touching just by giving them that little source of courage? It's not a security blanket; it's a cape. But maybe that is their security blanket,
Yeah.
And that's kind of my goal for 2011 is to find ways that I can raise some extra money that I can donate to something like that, and ways that I can reach out and impact the community on a better level. And so Marshall Legal, we still got you online?
Sorry?
We still got Marshall Legal online?
Oh, yeah.
You've been awful quiet. What some of your thoughts on this? What are some ways that you could think of that we might just proactively start addressing this issue of DUI and such this upcoming weekend? What are some ways that we can reach out to our communities and try and nip this in the bud?
Well, I'd say start with the kids. I mean, they eventually grow up, and some of them eventually start drinking. Start with them. Show them the reasons and teaching the reasons why and all. This way, hopefully when they grow up, what you taught them when they were young will stick with them, and they'll, be wiser than their predecessors, so to speak.
That's definitely. It's always a good point. Start at the bottom. Start keep training them there. Remember, I didn't write it down, but on the MAD website, it says that by 8 years old, a majority of the kids have at least tasted alcohol. It's like at 8. Wow. When you got alcohol being accepted by families, and they'll share it with an 8-year-old. You're trying to overcome some pretty powerful things at the points, they get to be 12, 13, 16, 18, and on. So, start educating them at a young age, about the dangers of DUI. Definitely worth considering. Now, we've got about 4 minutes left on the air. We can stay after if anybody wants to. Just stay on the line if you want to continue this in an after show and you haven't called in. The call-in number is 917-889-3317. That's 917-889-3317. And you can stay with us on the air, and we can continue this after show. I will definitely stay on a little bit afterwards, at least to cover the upcoming things that are going to be happening here at Superhero Academy at the first of the year. We do have some changes that are going to be going on in February, and we'll talk about that for just a minute or so. And we have some special guests. Of course, this week we with ANONYMAN as our visiting professor. It's our first week at Superhero Academy International. But
thanks for having me on the show, man. I'm sorry about the rough connection on my cell phone. Things have been a little rough.
No problem.
I haven't been able to hear really everything on my end, so I'm going to have to download the show later. Hopefully everything sounded all right for me on your end.
It sounded pretty good on my end. Next week we are also going to be international because next week our scheduled guest, the first guest of 2011, is Captain Australia. He's going to be calling in. Yes. With the time difference, he's actually going to be off work that day and be able to call in. And so we're going to find out about the hero from down under. I've heard nothing but good from him, but I'm just curious to know more about him, to talk to him, find out what Vegemite is, and just so much else that we can learn from our other part of the world counterpart there. We got some other exciting guests, and I'll go into that in the after show. We got about 2 minutes left here on the air, and I want to thank everybody that's called in. I want to thank Marshall Eagle. I want to thank ANONYMAN. I want to thank Golden Valkyrie and Silver Sentinel for calling in our chat room. I want to thank Baffling Weirdo, Master Legend, and Patriot. I want to thank our super villain of the day who called in, Agent Race. Congratulations on being our first villain of the show. And definitely made things interesting. And we're going to play our closing theme, go off the line, and I will talk about the upcoming shows in our after show. Those of you who want to hear this, it will be available for download. Again, if you want to call in to get in here, we've got about a minute. It's 917-889-3317. And for Superhero Academy, this is Crossfire the Crusader saying have a good day.
We are the new
Long song.
We're men in light. We roam around the forest looking for light. We're men in time. We run from the ridge and get to the floor, that's right. We may look like cities, but what would you say, or else we'll put out your light. We're men in light. Always on guard, defending the people's rights. La 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 We're men in fight. Yeah, we roam around the forest looking for fight. We're men in time. We run from the rich and give to the poor. That's right. We may look like candy, but don't get us wrong or else we'll put our We're men in tights, tight, tight. Always on guard, defending the peaceful cry. When you're in a fix, just call for the men in tights. We're Butch.
All right, we still got everybody online?
I'm here.
I just want to touch base. We're not going to go too far into an after show. One of the changes that's coming up in February, Blog Talk Radio is limiting the free accounts to a 30-minute show. And from the email that I received back when I questioned them about after shows, we'll be able to go over about 15 minutes, and that's going to be it. So basically, I'm just going to use this little 10 to 15 minutes afterward to just kind of tease the next week's show for everybody that downloads it or stuff like that or wants to stay online, or just to finish up any conversation. I think we kind of covered things pretty well. Again, thank you, ANONYMAN. I did good job preparing things. I'm glad to have you. Feel free to call in again, and Marshall Eagle for calling in.
No problem.
Coming up in 2011, we've got some interesting shows for January. Our first week is going to be, as I said, Captain Australia. And so we're going to be learning about the hero from down under, what he does, what it's like being a hero on the other side of the world. And you know,
have you got to talk to him much?
I've just talked to him online and just chatted a little bit on Facebook because working nights I kind of got a lot of time that I can sit and just trying to stay awake so I get to get online and talk to him. So I talked to him on Facebook a little bit. So he's supposed to be calling in and joining us. I think it's going to be a very good show. The following week, the second week of January, I have scheduled DC's Guardian. And we're going to be learning all about Skiffy Town and the Skiffy Town League of Heroes and what all they do, which I was there at the beginning of that, and I know that's going to be an awesome, awesome show. The following week, we got a gentleman by the name of Zeta Man. Anybody ever heard of him? And Zeta's going to be talking to us about he's going to be talking to us about some of the obstacles that he's had to overcome in the time he's been doing this, and I know he's had ups and downs. You know, the alternates, the group he formed, the alternates has come together and fallen apart, and come together and fallen apart, and just other things have gone on, and I just look forward to hearing everything he's had to overcome. And then the fourth week of January, I've got Peter Tangent scheduled. If you're familiar with the Real Life Superhero Photo Project, Peter is going to be calling in and talking to us about that and some other projects he's got going, and I'm just pumped about that. That is the 4th of July type of boom explosion that we've been waiting for this show. I'm really excited to have Peter Tangent be calling in for that. I don't have the schedule for February yet, but in February we will be going to 30-minute shows, and I'm looking for some shorter topics that we can go into, not so much filler, but we'll be discussing more issues, and again, carrying it forward, looking at ways that we can impact the community, and I look forward to this journey. It looks like it's going to continue to be an exciting one, a fun one. It has been great so far connecting with everybody. We will continue the Cape Drive for Heart Heroes, and I will, of course, let them know that we are already taking pledges for heroes to start sending capes in, and then I'm promoting them. I guess I owe an apology to Jack from Hero Gear. I get so excited at these subjects we're talking about, I keep forgetting to mention Hero Gear. Those of you that are trying to get your suits together, go to herogear.org and take a look sometime at what he has to offer. He does some amazing work. He's very, very skilled, very professional costumer, and he can definitely take and create the look that you're wanting for your superhero character, for your persona. Herogear.org, definitely worth checking it. It's hero-gear.org. So those of you that are listening and those of you that are still online, if you're trying to get your super suit together, go check out Jack.
Yeah, I'm getting Jack to make my suit for me. I've seen his work, and it's so impressive. Like,
very impressive.
I think Heartwire's gimmick's done by him, and it's just really great. I'm glad I found him. He's a good man, too.
Let me see if there's anything else I need to cover. Of course, we're still continuing our stuff. We're going to still continue the drop zone, still continue the weight loss, because that keeps me accountable. I don't want to have to come in here 1 week and say, guys, I didn't lose any weight. Or worship, guys, I lost some weight. You know, that's kind of an embarrassment. You know, that's the motivation it takes for me to stay focused. Well, that's what I need, and I appreciate everybody supporting me on that. You can follow what's going on as far as the radio show on the Superhero Academy blog on my Blogger. I have that. I also do my Fire by Night blog, which is just my random thought. And when I remember to update, I'm reposting the superhero Bible studies. Those of you who are interested in that kind of matter, I've taken a couple years back. I took several superhero characters, used them as object lessons to segue into some Bible lessons that were well received at the time, and I'm reposting that on Blogger. All of those are available. If you follow the links from the show page, you can go to the Superhero Academy page and go to my Blogger account, and you'll see all 3 blogs there. So those are definitely available for everybody.
About getting your blogs on reallifesuperhero.org, just like crossfire.reallifesuperheroes.org, and you can use WordPress and get all 3 of your blogs on there. It'd be a lot easier to just keep all that together. I think Superhero uses that, and I'm creating my own profile too. It's a great program.
Yeah, I may do that. I'm trying to streamline. I've had so many different accounts over the years. I used to have a Zynga account, and I'm seriously considering getting rid of that MySpace stuff.
MySpace
just is terrible. And they've tried to improve it. And every time they try to improve it, it's like they're trying to pound sand in a rat hole with a rubber hammer. It's just, it was good that you left it alone. Facebook, on the other hand, is opening up a lot of things and getting better every day. I don't know if I like their new profile setup, but it's there. So I use a lot of Facebook more than anything. But I also try to go through and post on the various RLSH message boards so I can get the word to everybody. Just using the show here, this is the best thing. I get to use the show to bring people like yourself, like Razor Hog, Silver Sentinel, Golden Valkyrie, Skyman, and let them share the areas that they're stronger in. So we get to have some fun. I am seriously looking for the second week of February, guys. I'm doing another show like the one we did last week. I'm going to do some research. I really don't expect St. Valentine to be near the impressive figure that St. Nicholas was. I was really amazed when I started studying that one. If you did not listen to last week's show, download it. You will be amazed at the man behind Santa Claus. What an amazing figure he was. What a passionate man. Definitely qualifies as a real-life superhero. This is a guy that was not afraid to do what was right and not afraid to put his life on the line, and he didn't back down. They were just a very, very imposing figure. So if you get a chance to go back and listen to last week's show, I recommend it, the December 19th show. So we'll probably do the same thing around Valentine's Day. Of course, it'll be 30 minutes. It'll be a shorter show. Anybody that's interested in helping out on this, since we've only got 30 minutes to do stuff starting in February, one of the suggestions that has been given to me is to find somebody that wants to do a counterpoint show or a second chapter on the same day or stuff like that would be willing to host their own blog talk show. As the suggestion set it up, where 15 minutes after my show ends, their show begins, so we have like a little halftime where we go to the restroom and get a Coke or whatever, and then pick up discussion on the next person's blog talk radio show. So if anybody wants to pick that up, I'd welcome the counterpoint or the second chapter or whatever we want to call it. And we'll definitely support each other. Say, those of you who will stick around, we're going to continue this conversation over on ANONYMAN's blog talk show or over on Martial Eagle's show or Silver Sentinels or whoever's wanted to pick that up. I would even give some consideration if one of the supervillains wanted to pick up and do some equal time there and say, I would be cautious about endorsing the show ahead of time, but I would definitely give some consideration into hearing their counterpoint as long as they were done respectfully and such like that, which majority of our real-life supervillains that I deal with regularly have been able to keep things respectful and such like that. There are a few that try to get way out there, but if anybody wants to do a second half-hour show like that and wants to pick that up, we can definitely look into that possibility. So we've got a month or so to think about that, and we won't put that idea out there. I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here in just a few minutes. Before I go, Anonymous, anything you want to add to all this?
I don't know. About the second chapter, though, I think Meow and Friends might be starting again sometime in the future. We could talk to Meow, or Minuteman was a frequent guest on that show. We could talk to either of them and see if they'd be willing to do a second chapter type to this.
Well, I know she kind of got her own thing, and she's looking at doing late night shows. She goes back to her old time slot. So I'm not sure where that's going to go. We'll just have to see that with the change in Blog Talk, she may just say, pick with it, not pick it back up. I haven't heard anything from her about that. I know, of course, in our community we've got the Creature feature on Saturday night, and there's always a possibility that Malvado will pick his show back up down the road. But
maybe Malvado would be willing to do the counterpoint. As much as I like Malvado, I'm just not sure how appropriate the show would be.
Yeah. Well, I know right now he's having some personal issues and has distanced himself just a little bit from the real life superhero community. You know, we wish him well as he gets back on his feet and such like that. I know Silver Sentinel's talked to him a little bit. I have talked to him just briefly online, and we wish him well getting back on his feet. But there are some people out there that would, if they could get all their ducks in a row, that would be good for a counterpoint type show. I think they could hold their own, and there's some people that could do a good second chapter of it and say, okay, we were over here discussing this, let's go from there. So even if we didn't agree on everything, it's definitely always a second set of eyes, second opinion, can always make things better, point out things that we miss here, and can only reach out and reach more people and create more of an impact. So I'm going to go on ahead and say goodnight for everybody here at Superhero Academy. Thank you, Anonymous, for your help today. Thank you, Marshall Eagle, for calling in and staying with the whole show. And thanks to Silver Sentinel and Golden Valkyrie for calling in to do the Silver Seal of Approval. Congratulations, Team Justice, on what you did this week. You definitely earned the Silver Seal with all the work you've done for Christmas. Thanks to all our callers who called in today and all the people on the chat room, Baffling Weirdo, Lord Malignant, Agent Race. All of you, thank you for being part of the show today. And I will see you all next week right here on Blog Talk Radio. Same cross time, same cross channel. Boy, I like that, don't y'all? So y'all have a good night, and I will see you next week. Thank you very much.
Happy holidays, Crossfire.
Happy holidays to you too.